Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and kick off part 2 here. I will start with the extra deck. So we'll go with our Synchro and a couple of Exceed monsters first. I've got a Stardust Dragon. I only run one because I only run one Stardust, I'm sorry, Starlight Road. It's good. Like I said, a lot of ways to get nuked, so you really can get out of 2 nukes with this as long as there's nothing that stops it, like a Solemn Warning or something like that. You can get out of the first initial nuke with the Starlight Road, and then you've got Stardust Dragon on the field, and you can get out of another potential nuke. So, as you can tell, this deck does not like nuking at all. It can really hurt um, in a lot of ways. And honestly, like the deck's really predictable, but the key is not so much the element of surprise as it is just forcing yourself to win. So this is going to help you with that. Stardust. Um, the Heroic Champion Excalibur. This card is so good. It requires 2 level 4 warrior monsters, which is not a big deal. You, and I'll show you a good combo with this later. But basically, you detach both materials, and it gets a total of 4,000 attack. Not only for the turn that you detach, but until your opponent's next end phase. So it's really good. I really like it, and it's really easy to summon too. I like that. Easy to summon and powerful. I replaced Blade Armor Knight with this, but you know I'm gonna play Tesla for a little while. It's been working really well so far. Then we got our 39 Utopia, which is pretty straightforward. All right, so let's get into the fun stuff, the fusions. I'll explain my thought behind each of these, especially with today's format. Gaia. All right. So now that dragons are dead, and people are starting to, of course, adapt to the meta, especially dragon players, we're looking for something similar to our old play style. My thought was that there are going to be a lot of like Teledad, like psychic decks floating around. A lot of them are Earth, um, and this gets around that with the Super Poly. So let them do their thing where they're, you know, E-telling and Esper Girl, the whole banishing gimmick, whatever. When they get that big monster out, the synchro or whatever, that's when you want to get this with a Super Poly. But it's tricky because you have to make sure you get the timing right, that you Super Poly the right monster. Um, but this really does kill them. It's too good. Um, I mentioned this before, Adoration. I like Adoration for 2 reasons. Number one, he doesn't have a specific type that he needs to be able to get on the field. Basically, it just requires 2 hero monsters. The effect's alright. Basically, once per turn, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls and 1 face-up hero monster you control except this card. The opponent's targeted monster loses attack and defense equal to the attack of your targeted monster until the end phase. A really cool play with this is, again, if you've got this and like the Shining on the field, that's broke. And that's really easy to do if you've got a parallel and a miracle in hand. Super easy to do. You just Miracle Fusion with your Shining, and then you just parallel fusion that, put those cards back in your deck, so now they're reusable monsters, and you get a free Adoration. You can use its effect to target the Shining, and then most of the time that's going to drop your opponent's monster down to 0. So you're basically hitting life points as long as you don't have anything in defense or anything like that. So it's really good, and it's a dark monster, so it's a target for another card. I'll show you guys. Great Tornado. This is going to be mostly used to super poly with either your or your opponent's Stardust. Those Starlight Roads are extremely popular right now, with good reason. So we have to have a response for that because Stardust can be an issue. But yeah, so Great Tornado, and it's got a pretty cool effect. I'll just read it straight off the field. It must be fusion summoned, cannot be summoned in any ways. when this card is fusion summoned, half the attack and defense of all face-up monsters your opponent controls. So that can be crucial right there. I mean, they may even scoop her in their turn after you super poly a Stardust with one of your monsters. So super good card right here. This card is so good, especially in today's format with all of the things that are jumping around out there in the meta. So go ahead and just show you guys. Bam. I'm going to give the pronunciation of this card's name a shot. So we've got Elemental Hero Escuriado. I don't know. Either way, Escuriado. That's what we're going to go with because this card's too good. All it needs is an E-Hero and a Dark Monster. Huge, huge super poly target for like Dark Worlds and things like that that are floating out there. I think Zenmaines is a Dark. I think. And it doesn't destroy Zenmaines, so it can't use its effects to negate it. And this card is broke because it gets a 100 attack for every E-Hero in your grave. So if you're super polying, you can count on there being at least a 100 point boost from that combo. So I love this card. And like I said, that Gore's in your grave that your opponent forgot about, so on and so forth. So it's, or that, that adoration that went to the grave or what have you. So this card's really, really good. We've got AZ, Absolute Zero, for your Snowman Eaters, your Bubble Man, your opponents, whatever they've got, it's too good. And everybody knows its effect. When this card leaves the field, you blow up your opponent's monster. So it's really good. For all of those Lalo users, I've got Nova Master for you. Too good, especially because you can use it for Super Poly, which is what I use it for primarily. If it destroys an opponent's monster, you can by battle you can draw a card. So again, those plus ones. Also, a good target for something like Black Rose, just to throw it out there. So there you go. And then finally, we've got 3 the Shinings. What can I say, man? It's so good. And there's a lot of things being banished. So even if your opponent, is all excited because they just banished Elemental Hero Alias, Neos Alias rather, with a bottomless, it's eventually gonna help. I have not gotten that card bottomless in my tenure of playing this deck, and it not helped me later on as a result of my opponent's bottomless trap hole. So I love this card. I think it's great. And it didn't get hit by the ban list, so we can still run 3. Okay, so that's the complete view of my main deck. Now I'm going to show you guys the side deck. I've never really been good at this, so I really want your pointers here. Got 1 Snowman Eater on the side. Biggest reason, I think 3 is a little much, but if my opponent's got a monster-heavy deck, this can be really, really good. So yeah, Snowman Eater. We've got 1 Parallel World on the side. Again, 1's good in the main, but there can be instances where 2 will be even better, especially if I'm in a mirror match and I've got to get that extra E-Hero on the field. I would definitely put 2 of these. 2 Mystical Space Typhoons. I don't main this card because I've got the 3 Gemini Sparks and I've got Heavy Storm. So I don't feel a need to main this, but it is good in the side in case I don't want to use, like in case I take out the Crusader, and I may take out like a couple Gemini Sparks because removing 1 Gemini can make a lot of difference in the game. So I just side these. I've got 2 Forbidden Lance. If I'm going against a card, a deck rather, that, how can I explain this? Dark World's a good example for a time I would use this. That's the best thing I can think of, especially because their monsters have just a little bit more attack than a lot of my fusions, as well as not being able to get hit by spells and traps if I need to use that effect too. So, and it's a quick play, so I like it. We've got 2 smash. Like this card, it's a quick -1 for my opponent, and I would just side this in if I really felt like I needed it. 3 shadow imprisoning mirrors. Main thought behind this initially was in sectors, but I don't know if those are going to be floating around as much anymore. But in sectors and dark worlds were my thoughts behind the possible 3 of these. As I mentioned, I've got 1 deep prison just because 2 is a little much in most cases. In some cases, it may not be, you know, but I have to just kind of feel my opponent out a little bit. But it is a really good side deck choice. I do side Dark Hole. Maining it, I tried maining it, and I just didn't like it, along with Monster Reborn. A lot of my fusions, all for the exception of like a couple, and not really many at all, can't be brought back. And then I have so many ways of recycling the other monsters that a Monster Reborn really wouldn't help me. Again, biggest thing here is going to be if it's like a mirror match, and like I have a Miracle Fusion, but I don't have any materials, but they may have like an Elemental Hero or something. I'll use this. Definitely a mirror match side in, but not something I would use on a regular basis. I'd much rather draw something else besides Monster Reborn in this deck, like honestly. So, yeah. That is the deck. Definitely let me know what you guys think. I am going to, like, I'm not running dragons anymore, obviously. I mean, they got hit pretty hard. I'm not a Chaos Dragon kind of guy, so I didn't even try to build that deck. I didn't like it. It's really not a dragon deck. Dragon is just an aspect of the deck, so I wasn't interested. But I did get this mat. I found it at my locals last night, believe it or not. I didn't know that. I thought I had something like original. I didn't know Umbreon from the Shadow has the exact same mat, which, I mean, big ups to Umbreon. I mean, no offense, but I just thought I had something like fresh to show you guys now that I'm back. And I watched one of his videos today, and it's got the same mat. But, I mean, it's a cool mat. You got the Pokemon on this side, Yu-Gi-Oh! Dragons mostly on this side. So, some pretty good matchups here, too. I really couldn't have matched them up any better, so I don't know why I threw Obelisk on here. He's definitely not a dragon. He's kind of out of place, but oh well. But anyways, so that's the deck. Let me know what you guys think. I'm definitely up for your suggestions and, you know, any help that you guys are willing to offer. So definitely, you know, rate, comment, subscribe. Prodigy signing out. Peace.